theories that you're interfering with an active investigation.
An unofficial, off the record, highly suspect, closed investigation. Remember?
Rosmary goes all in on everything, so I don't think it's surprising that investigative Rosmary is going all in on this investigation. But what I really enjoyed playing was when she was faced with a bit of a wall with Bill. Like, Bill was the hurdle for her to get over, really. Like, she had to win him over because she needed that partnership. Like, she had information and resources, but he also did, and they really needed each other to partner up. And so I loved the comedy of his reticence to take her on and her perseverance and determination to make that happen. I thought that was really funny. Well, I mean, I think she got some information out of it, and I think it spurs her on in the sense of she knows she's on to something. Given his reaction and the abruptness, I think she knows she's going at it from the right angle, and so it just makes her more determined. Well, I mean, I think they're really approaching it, and this is, I think, what's really great for, like, Bill is kind of more of a skeptic, and Rosemary's more of a, like, dive right in and follow her hunch kind of thing. And so I think they end up doing a really good job of really, like, turning over every stone in the investigation. And so they're not willing to rule out him, but they're also not willing to zero in on him either as the one and only suspect. And so they're going to pursue other avenues as well. I think that gives them, the fact that they aren't officially supposed to be investigating it, I think it actually gives them a little bit of freedom to kind of play outside the box on this and maybe be a bit unconventional. And there are, I mean, as the season goes on, I think what people will find is they might zero in on, oh, we think it's this person, like we think it is Montague who's the mastermind. But I will say, as the season progresses, that becomes less, you'll become less confident in that call, which I think is really great that Rosmary and Bill pursue it. But I think it's also a testament to the writing that they don't just basically give you the answer of who it is and then that's the only path that's being kind of explored. New suspects kind of emerge and it kind of goes, oh, okay, maybe we need to look at this from a different angle, both as Rosmary and Bill, but also as the audience when they're watching it. Nobody is safe. Everybody is being looked at, for sure. I loved it. Jack and I really, for having worked together technically for so many years, we haven't worked together, just the two of us, very often at all. And I just loved it. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's very generous. He and I like to go into the blocking, do the blocking, and then we like to step away and then rehearse a lot in that time between the blocking and when we shoot. And so that worked really well for both of us, that both of us are happy to run lines and like run it many, many times so that it's very smooth once we get into the room. And I think Jack's really funny. I think Rosmary brings out I think the character of Bill is at his best when we see that kind of comedic curmudgeon Bill. That to me is like quintessential Bill perfection. And I think what's so great is Rosmary brings that out in him. And so it's been a great pairing because it also like because he is also a man of few words, it brings out that kind of about Rosmary of like she'll just talk circles around him and he's kind of like, what just happened? I'm grumpy about this. And you're right, when you said that thing about all around town, I think because of the very nature that he's for a good portion, kind of trying to get away from her. Like, he is trying to run away, literally, like we saw in the season opener. He leaves his own office because he's so like frazzled by her presence that and she's like, this is your office. And so I just think that plays really well into their dynamic, especially at the beginning when he's always kind of trying to run away from her and escape her, and she's like chasing him down. And he and I have a bunch of what are called walk and talks, and I think that really adds to the dynamic between the two of them. Rosmary that character's made for a walk and talk because her rhythm is so brisk and she talks so quickly. And so to have that movement of like walking while it's happening is such a great setting for me. I'm always asking for more walk and talks, although they're very technically complicated because often you kind of have to nail it in one shot because the camera's walking with you. You don't have coverage to necessarily cut away on. But I kind of like it. It almost feels like a play. And Jack has that background of theater as well. And so he and I liked those. Well, I mean, they're new parents and they're absolutely enamored with Goldie. And she's like the light of their life. But I think what's great is you also see two people who are in love with being parents and in love with this new baby of theirs, but they are also career people. And I think that that's important to represent, and that people can do it both, and people can have multiple passions, and that you don't necessarily have to sacrifice one to achieve the other one. And so you start seeing different and more creative ways of how do we juggle this. So sometimes Goldie's in the office with the two of them. Sometimes Goldie's like on the move with them. Sometimes she's being dropped off in like the new daycare that you'll see represented and created in the town. And so, it speaks to my own experience as, I mean, my kids are a little bit older now, but certainly when they were babies and toddlers, I really relied on my community and my family and friends that were around. I mean, there were many times, especially with my first child, where it was like we'd like drop him off with like these friends, and then like a different friend would pick him up and like bring him here. Like but it was really like I felt like our community really rallied behind us to make sure that he was always taken care of and loved, and his needs were put first, even when I was busy with work, because I did love my work as like, I mean, I don't know if I would say equally. Obviously, I love my child the most, but it's that balancing act. And my husband had a career that he felt really strongly about. And so, it's a village. It's a village that raises a child. And that was my own experience. And then I like that it's being represented on the show as well. If ever there was a town that was going to be the example of how to do that perfectly, it's going to be Hope Valley. Well, Rosmary was a little thrown off by it at first. She was like, I thought we were downsizing and simplifying our life, and then this is a pretty big undertaking. But ultimately, I think what's great about the two of them is when one of them has an idea and is excited about it and passionate about it, ultimately the other one's going to get on board and support that person. And I think it tempered it quite a bit, knowing that Hickam was going to be running it, and it wasn't going to be this other massive project on Lee's desk. You know what? I mean, I feel like a big portion of the season is taken up by the investigation, which is really like kind of Rosmary on her own. I'm trying to think of what the other things that they go through together this season. I mean, there's lots of really fun, cute moments, like the family together. I think I can say this, like there's an Easter episode coming down the line. And so that's a really sweet moment where you see the family together, and there's lots of really sweet family things going on. Whoever makes her best friend happy. She has always been, right from the very beginning, Team Elizabeth. Like when everybody was choosing teams, she was always like very strongly Team Elizabeth, and was like, I think you need to follow your heart. Like if you've got pause, that is your heart telling you something. So, and I'm here for it. I'm here to support you. I'm here to listen to this. And so, yeah, so she just wants Elizabeth to be happy, but I think she's seeing clear signs that in this season, there is definitely a spark and a twinkle in Elizabeth's eye that happens only when Nathan is around. Yes, yes. So they had the haircut, and I loved that Rosmary was the one who ended up taking that on, and with such gusto, like no skills at cutting hair, but she's undeterred. She's going to help her friend out to achieve this. So yeah, they had that, and I mean, there's a lot of really sweet heart-to-hearts between the two of them, and but I will say a big journey this season is Rosmary on her investigation and Elizabeth like testing the waters with Nathan and spending time with him a little bit this season. And so they're obviously together in their friendship, but I don't think either of them are having deep angst that they're leaning on each other for this particular season, as much as you saw in season 10. Well, I don't think she ever backs off. I think Rosmary just keeps on going, but she hates being scooped, and she hates the fact that it's him. I think she thinks he's an inferior reporter, and how does he keep on getting ahead? And she feels like he has like the secret source, and why doesn't she have a secret source? She would like to have a secret source, and it's not happening. And so what I will say though, that relationship with Rosmary and Randall takes a very unexpected turn in like near the end of the season that it surprised me when I read it, and I think it'll surprise viewers when they watch it. It's not romantic. No, never. They're like the backbone of the show, that romance. But no, there is an unexpected turn that is still a rivalry, but not so maybe antagonistic. Well, I will say that I think that is part of the benefit of pairing up with Bill. Like, Bill is going to keep her on the straight and narrow, even if she doesn't want to be on the straight and narrow in terms of this investigation. But I mean, it does end up culminating in a mess for Rosmary. She's not in a good situation by the end of the season, and I think it really catches her off guard, her circumstances that she ends up in. If it's not her, she will like die trying. She is so dogged in that pursuit of finding out, like, what did you remember? And so I think, unfortunately, I don't think anyone actually is the catalyst for it. I think it ultimately kind of comes to him on his own through other circumstances that I don't want to get into at this particular moment because I don't want to spoil anything. You do end up finding out, and he does remember himself exactly what happened, but it takes some time, that's for sure. I think seeing her as the investigative reporter is something brand new, because we've never seen that, and I always love that when writers find new territory that they can explore a character with. The investigation is something brand new, and so that's fantastic. You know, when Rosmary became a mother, and then the unexpected turn of when she was struggling with being a motherless mother, that was unexpected and something, a whole new layer of the character that we had never seen before. So I think when you find ways to learn new things about a character, especially when you're 8, 9, 10, 11 seasons in, that's what's exciting. I mean, that's what's exciting for me as an actor, but I have to imagine that that's exciting as a viewer to watch, is you're like, oh, I didn't know that was in this person. And obviously it's still within the framework of the character you know and love. But this season, this investigation really brings out this really using all of Rosemary's normal skills of being, very smart and quick on her feet and quite savvy and witty and all those things, but in a completely different setting. And I think that that's really neat.